men in the church.
Yes. Go ahead. Take us out of here. It's time. Take us out of here. It's time. Let's go.
Man.
I'm gonna start with the hard question because I'm gonna go take us out of here.
Go ahead.
What has been your experience with seeing men in the church? Mm-hmm. Why don't we see men in the church? Why is the church filled with more women than men?
I think it goes both ways. That there are men in the church, but then I see a lot more that aren't going to church. Why is that? I couldn't tell you.
When I'm at church, I see older men. When I say this is not an absolute statement. I do think right now there is a lack of younger men. There's only a few men that attend the events, that are actually serving, in different ministries. It's not a lot, but it's, and the women outnumber us by large. Back to the Easy Talk Show. I'm your host, Easy Ward. This is a show you'll get nourishment for your needs, food for your soul, and of course, healing for your hearts. Thank you for all the love from episode 18, The Right Perspective of Suffering. We got a lot of great feedback, a lot of great comments, some really just great dialogue started. So, thank you all for all the love, and please, continue to tune in. If you're new to my channel, please like, comment, or subscribe to Easy Ward TV. Once again, if you're new to my channel, please like, comment, or subscribe to Easy Ward TV. Today, we got something kind of fresh and exciting. This is another edition of, Cozy Couch Conversations. I haven't said it in a few episodes, but it still stands. Today's title is going to be called The Elephant in the Room. The great producer, Dan, the man with the plan, he's came up with some phenomenal questions and topics that we're going to address. So it won't be as today's going to be a very much dialogue, very collaborative. I mean, it's always collaborative, but this is going to be a very much dialogue, open conversation, kind of discussion today that we're going to have about some topics that Dan has brought to the table that I think are really going to just start some healthy discourse, amongst the community and amongst the church at large, and the Christian body. So I'm gonna let Dan open us up today, and then we can start like that.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer would be that this conversation is geared from a place of love and from a place of wanting our community, believers, non-believers, whoever, just anybody who comes across the content, just to be better. And these are just opinions of our own and your own, and just like you said, healthy conversation.
Yep.
Sometimes we need to have them. But the title is The Elephant in the Room. And there's a lot of times that we have a lot of conversations. We walk in the rooms as elephants, or these big things that we walk around. The first topic is just talking about men in the church. As somebody who just started going to church for themselves, not being told by a parent or whatever the case would be, not too long ago, I didn't have this perspective growing up of what it was to be a man in the church, the stereotypes surrounding men in church. So this is just going to be an open floor conversation about all things men in church.
Yes. Go ahead. Take us out of here. It's time. Take us out of here. It's time. Let's go.
Man, I don't even know where to start. I guess we can start with just defining what that even means. There can be a lot of things, a lot of ways we can take this. We can talk about, we could be real. We could be really, really real. We could be,
we could be, I mean, listen, we could be really, 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 really real, or we can be real.
Right. So
but
it's like,
either way, we can be real.
Right.
But it is levels to real.
There's levels to this thing. And it's like, okay.
And we're learning, and, just another disclaimer, we are learning as we go. So we're not professionals. These views don't reflect anybody but
us.
our own. And our experience. But one thing we do understand, we have responsibility. So we're going to do it in a way that is respectful,
Right.
Very much accountable, and in a way of just speaking truth, but doing it in a, I don't want to say tasteful, but a very respectful, and honorable.
There it is.
Honorable way. So
there it is.
All jokes aside, we're going to do the because we with the platform we got responsibility.
We take it serious.
We take it serious. So, but yeah. With all that being said,
take us out of here. So starting with just men in church, I guess defining what that is in today's time. I don't want to.
I'm gonna start with the hard question because I'm gonna go take us out of here.
Go ahead.
but I'm gonna ask you first though. What has been your experience with seeing men in the church? Mm-hmm. Why don't we see men in the church? Why is the church filled with more women than men?
Thank you for asking the first question because it's the elephant in the room. I think it goes both ways that there are men in the church. You're a man in the church.
Yep.
I'm a man in the church. When we go in, I've seen shout out to Pastor Keith Battle at Zion. He did a whole experiment where a lady got on stage, or he brought somebody on stage and was like, he let people know there's a man in the church, and he had all the single men come to the altar to show that there are men that are single in the church. So like, there are men in the church, but then I see a lot more that aren't going to church. Why is that? I couldn't tell you. It might be because what were their examples? I can speak for myself. Like we started as a family, we went to church growing up, but because of my parents' church hurt or just our lack of whatever happened, I know that I would go to church because my parents went. At some point, I don't know what happened, we stopped going. And then I had to figure it out for myself, or like desire God for myself to go. But I also now have a lot of friends who don't go to church. I have a lot of who are believers. So it's like, I don't know why that is the case. But I know that there are a lot of good men out here that are in church. I don't know. What is your perspective of like, what do you see when you go to church? Do you see a lot of men? Do you see?
Yeah, so I see, I go, so when I'm at church, I see older men, like and when I say this, like, I'm not saying that, when I say this is not an absolute statement, or like I don't see younger men, but I'm saying majority. I see older men, so I would say 40, probably plus. Mm-hmm. I do think right now there is a lack of younger men. Like when I say younger men in the church, as a whole, as a like if we probably took a poll of men that's our age, in their 20s, as a whole, we don't see a lot of younger men in the church. Even, being involved in my young adult ministry at my church, there's only a few men that attend the events that are at the that are actually serving in different ministries. It's not a lot, but it's, and the women outnumber us by large.
Tens, yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think, this is my personal opinion, I think sometimes, I think the example part is a big thing. A lot of people just haven't seen it. But also, I think that sometimes younger men, I think we need more healthy examples of young men living out for Christ. Because I think people will follow what they want to be like. Or how can I better say that? People will follow people that they want to be like. Mm-hmm. So it needs to be more representation of people that people want to be like. So let's just take it like let's take it off the church for a minute, and I just look at culture, right? Most people want to be like what?
Name any LeBron, hypothetically.
Yeah, like or you know, or like athletes, rappers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People in entertainment, essentially. Now, you take it back to the church. How often do you see, like, younger men? When I say younger men, in their 20s, you know, how often do we see younger men in the church leading out front? You know, who look like people that other people are trying to follow, and not necessarily be like, but people that have influence that are in the church, young, leading. We don't see that as much. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying, because people will clip stuff up. I'm not saying no. Yeah, like I'm gonna clarify. I'm not saying it's not there.
Right.
I'm just saying we don't see a lot of it.
Right.
And I believe that one of the solutions is you need more younger men who are living out loud for Christ. Who people can say, oh, you know what? Like, you know, yo, Dan's a cool guy. You know, like I see him publicly, you know, living out for Jesus. You know what? I want to be like him. You know, like,
right.
You know what? I'm gonna start coming to church. You know, like if he's living out for Christ, you know, like I want to see what's to that.
Man, let's talk, bro. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Cause
I just opened it up. I still got more, but go ahead.
You did.
Go ahead.
So if I cut you off,
no, you good. You good.
Okay. My church is one of those, a younger version. We're extremely young, and there's a lot of young brothers that serve. There's a lot of brothers who come to church every week, but you don't see them serving. One thing that I appreciate is, one thing I think that I can do a better job of is, like you said, being somebody that we got to be fishers of men, as the Bible would say. Like, if I serve every week and if I know I see you come to church. There's a lot of men who don't speak and try to get other men involved.
They don't.
We don't challenge each other respectfully. Like, I don't have to be like, man, Easy, why aren't you in church, and shame you? But I can say, yo, Easy, I see you doing this podcast. I love to see what you're doing, bro. You should come with me to Coffee and Convos at 4 p.m. next week. And like, we don't make it a space, and we don't invite each other as men.
We don't.
Like, I don't see it often.
Yep.
There's no reason why I shouldn't be inviting 10 people to church or 10 people to our life group or whatever the case may be. Whatever the thing is, as men, we should challenge other men without shaming them. We could say, yo, would you like to come with me too? Yo, we got this thing coming on. I would love to see you there, bro. I'll see you there next week. You've been here every week. When we gonna make the change? And like, I can tell you the fruit that I've gotten from being challenged spiritually.
Yeah.
My girl, even though she's not a man, she challenged me spiritually. That got me going to church. We're both, even if we don't talk about it all the time, we're both in fraternities. Like, our fraternities, we challenge each other to be better.
Yep.
Yo, how you going to approach this opportunity? Yo, you should do that. Hey, if you want to join our organization, you should come to these events. Whatever the case may be, we challenge people all day. But when it comes to God, we don't challenge. You know what's crazy? Which goes to the next thing is another topic, an elephant in the room. Men have a hard time surrendering in public to God.
Whew.
I'm one of them. So I ain't talking about I'm talking about myself right now.
Okay.
But when it comes to raising our hands, when it comes to praising, when it comes to being vocal, just saying hallelujah in public, it's like sometimes it took me a while to get to the point where I could praise God without looking to my left or my right. And that stopped me from giving God glory for all the things he's done for me. Mm. And I know that I'm not the only man that feels like that. I know I'm not the only man who's been there.
No, you're not. And you know what? Like, when I was younger, I used to do the same thing. Like, I used to never sign up, doing praise and worship. And that's because, I just didn't see men doing that. Like, usually men would just sit down doing praise and worship. Mm. But then, as I got older and started to have my own experiences, with God, I'm like, hold on. if I was anywhere else, I'd be like when I'm at the
concert,
the Drake concert, I'm standing up. When I'm at the Migos concert, I'm standing up. When I'm at the Jasmine Sullivan concert, I love Jasmine Sullivan. That's a good story. But like, you know, when I'm at that concert, I'm standing up. But why, when it's for the Lord, I'm sitting down. I'm almost like I'm too cool. Like almost like I'm too cool for that. Like I ain't too cool for the other music.
For the football games.
Yeah, for the football games.
Like I cheer for my fantasy
I'll
team.
be at my home yelling at the TV like, "Yo, what's up?"
Video games.
But, yeah.
Like
But you know, like when they say, you know, when they singing and praise and worship, you know, and they trying to bring the heaven, like they ushering, you know, the kingdom into the, you know, I mean, the presence of God into the building,
right,
into the service. I'm standing down like,
yeah.
So, but so hold on, because my brain is going to make me mouth bending right now. But I want to get back to the first topic because like we got to keep addressing that because it's so much more to unpack with that.
Right.
So, even with this is my personal belief, and I'm gonna just state it because I kind of believed that I was tiptoeing around what I really wanted to say, but I'm gonna just say it. I believe straightforward. This is what I think. I think that we need more young men who love God to be outward about it, outspoken about it, upfront about it, and displaying it publicly. And it needs to be people who have influence, people who people look to, like people who people look at and say, man, you know, like that's a cool guy. You know, that's somebody that, you know, I'll potentially want to. And when I say be like, I don't mean like you trying to have somebody else's life. Mainly what I'm saying is that they have influenced some of your thinking and ideologies in a good way. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, you know, if I look at like, and we all have influences, you know, if we look at our fathers, like, yo, you know, that's the kind of man I want to be. Granted, I won't be him, you know, one for one, but I want to be like him. That's, you know, and I kind of use the drastic example with fathers, but more so what I'm saying, people that you look at and you're like, you know what, yo, that's like, he has a lot going for himself. I see that he loves Christ. Yo, I would love to just have a convo with him. We need people like that, people of influence, people who people look to be out front leading. Because right now, in the majority, like I said, it's not absolute. In the majority, you see women or you see older men, right? And I think sometimes for the younger men, the older men, because they're so spiritually mature and spiritually sound, it's looked at as like, yo, you know, that's not even attainable. Like that's so far fetched. Like I'll get back to that when I'm in my 40s. You know, not realizing we don't have time. We don't have no time. Like you need to be centered to Christ now. But I believe that God is raising up a generation of bold people to be that. You know, for this generation. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I believe, you know, and that's why we got a responsibility here because, you know, we gotta be an example, you know, and uphold the responsibility that God has given us to walk this thing out, you know, through thick and thin, through long suffering, through times when we trying to relinquish control. But yeah, it is definitely needed, and I think that it's so many women doing great things in the church, but we need more men to like come back, because if not, what I'm scared of is that we're gonna have a generation where it won't even be men in the church. Like, you know, like it'll just be a small percentage, and that's not healthy, you know, because then, I mean, then it's just like, yo, like, how we gonna know how to raise good fathers and good, you know, and good leaders of the community, you know, if they're not, you know, under submission of some level of authority. So yeah, this is a heavy topic.
What you just said is so deep, because I was thinking the whole time as you were talking, I'm like, if you want to be a good dad, lead in the church.
Yeah.
your kid has to find, or your kid, so you have to model what it means to go to church.
Yes.
If you want to, how is your wife supposed to submit to you and you're not submitting to God?
Yep.
She needs to see that. Go to church.
Yep.
You want to be a leader in your office, in your workplace, go to church. Like the things that we can do in the world, do at church. Being a leader in these in church, or just doing more than just attending, can change your life. It'll teach you the tools God will give you. He'll invest in you. He'll put community around you. Be the change you want to see. Cause I know I ain't the only we ain't the only people seeing it,
bro. No, we not
for sure.
We not. We're just bold enough to tackle it.
Right.
But like, this is a conversation that has to be had, and it's a lot more that I want to say. Mm-hmm. But with respect to the platform, I'm a hold off for now, because I think this conversation is gonna have to continue to be had, because it's a lot more nuanced. And it's a lot to it that even I think